The knock came at dusk. 3 slow raps, hesitant, unfamiliar. I didn't open right away. I wanted the silence to stretch, to weigh on them the way their words once weighed on me. Through the lace curtain, I saw them, my son and his wife, faces drawn, clothes wrinkled, standing beside 2 oversized suitcases that screamed defeat. Even from here, I could feel their shame leaking through the cracks of their posture. It was almost poetic. 3 months ago, he'd left this house in a storm of words. "Rot in that old poor house, mother." The echo of it still hummed in the floorboards. Now here he was, on the same porch, same cracked tiles. Only this time, the arrogance was gone. I unlocked the door slowly, each click deliberate. When I opened it, I didn't speak, just stood there. Let them look at me. Let them feel the silence. He started, voice trembling like it used to when he was a boy who'd broken something. I raised an eyebrow. "You're late for dinner." The taxi driver was still idling at the gate, engine humming. He must have sensed something strange in the air because he didn't drive off. He kept watching, as if this house had become a stage for something about to unfold. "Can we come in?" his wife asked. Her tone had changed. No more clipped, condescending notes, just tired, worn. I stepped aside and motioned toward the door. Of course. They walked in, dragging their suitcases across the wooden floor that used to shine before they left me here alone. And that's where this story should have ended, right? The prodigal son returns. The forgiving mother opens her arms. Curtain closes. But that's not my kind of story. I remember the night it began. The first betrayal didn't come from him, it came from her. When he married Lena, I didn't say a word. She was rich, polished, spoke like her tongue had never touched bitterness. Her mother owned 3 properties, 2 salons, and a heart made of glass and steel, the kind that looked beautiful but cut deep when it shattered. At first, I was proud. My son had found comfort where I couldn't provide it. I told myself that love didn't have to be simple, it just had to be kind. But kindness wasn't in her vocabulary. It started with small things. A sneer when she visited my house. The way she'd look around my kitchen, eyes scanning like a critic, nose twitching at the smell of my cooking. Then she began to pull him away, thread by thread. Missed dinners, canceled visits, excuses wrapped in polite laughter. Until one day, he stood in that doorway, face flushed, voice sharp. "I'm moving in with Lena's mother. She has more space, more everything." I nodded, didn't argue, didn't cry. He wanted more? Let him drown in it. The silence after he left was the hardest part. Not the loneliness, I'd learned to live with that. It was the echo of his absence, the knowledge that he'd traded loyalty for luxury. So, I planned. Not revenge at first, just survival. I sold the old farmland he thought was worthless, the one he'd refused to help maintain. The land was sitting on a future highway extension. When the government announced the project, its value tripled overnight. I didn't tell him, didn't tell anyone. I invested quietly. Stocks, a small rental property, a bakery franchise in town. Bit by bit, I rebuilt what they thought was a crumbling life. While they were living under chandeliers, I was building an empire out of silence. And then, 3 months later, I heard the news. Her mother had been charged. Tax fraud, unpaid loans, frozen accounts. The house seized, the cars repossessed. And just like that, their golden palace turned to dust. When he called me, voice trembling, I let it ring. Twice, 3 times. On the 4th, I answered, We need a place to stay for a while." My lips almost curved into a smile. "Of course, son," I said softly. "Come home." Now, back to the present. They sat at my dining table, the same one he'd once called too small. Their eyes darted around the room, new furniture, polished wood, the faint smell of freshly baked bread from the bakery I now owned. Lena's lips parted. Redecorated? I had the means, I replied, pouring tea. Life's been good. Her eyes flickered, confusion twisting into disbelief. My son looked down, unable to meet my gaze. So, I continued, setting the teapot down with quiet precision, how long do you plan to stay? Just until we get back on our feet, he murmured. I nodded. That's fair. But you'll have to pay rent. He blanked. Rent? I leaned back, calm, steady. This isn't the same house you left. I run a business now. Every room here is occupied or rented out. You'll need to contribute, like everyone else. Lena shifted, her face reddening. We don't have much money right now. Then perhaps you should have thought of that before telling me to rot. The taxi driver outside must have sensed it, the shift in the air. He killed the engine, but didn't drive off.